Right, let's see if this works this time. Hello and welcome to Winter's SEO live stream on the Leviathan launch day. How's the sound? Are we coming through? Hello to everyone in the chat. I have got, because this, in case there's any questions, this, in case there's any questions on the missions, and these chonky meatballs in case there's any questions about these index cards, which I'm now allowed to talk about. Sounds great? Good. Leviathan was, yes, swag. Yes, Leviathan came out today. Apparently it's gone well and there are still available things. Chat, let me know. Has everyone been able, has everyone been able to get a copy? Chewy, leave me alone. I'm live streaming. It took me an hour refreshing my page. Look how many more cards, Marie. Yeah. Look at that. Codex Space Marines versus Codex Tyranids. Still available on the other UK site. I think this queue diverted everyone to other stores. Do they specify which bases go on which minis in the instructions? Yes. Killer Kriesman just got back down from 40 minutes ago. So as far as I've heard on the interwebs and in my Discord, everyone who wanted a copy has been able to get a copy. So Indomitus, in the last one was a bit of a screw up. This one, it appears that they actually made enough, which is awesome. If everyone is able to get the copy that they wanted to get, then this is awesome. Anyone didn't get a copy? Have we all got copies? Yeah, and today I just finished an STD with Warsmith Chris. So everything was set up. So I thought I'd do a live stream, jump on and say hi. Elements sold out in about 8 minutes. GW still looks like it's going. Okay, that's good, right? Yeah, particularly after the last launch, it's nice that they actually made enough boxes for everyone to get a box. Do you ever regret not being part of the Scramble winners? No, there are no regrets. In fact, when there were other scrambles before the YouTube thing was the thing, I was just like, I didn't want to get involved in all of that. I would wait. Get mine in like August or something. That was my kind of attitude around standing in line. I worked shifts for 20 years. And the thing about working shifts for 20 years is Saturdays and Sundays in Tesco's really annoy me because I never used to have to queue in a queue very much. So now I don't do queues well anymore. After not queuing for 20 years, queues got me beat, bro. If there's a queue, I'll walk the other way. The Space Marine is bigger because of all the lieutenants. There are about 9 lieutenants in the index cards. It's still not on sale in the USA, not for another 3 hours. Oh yeah, because they're doing this staggered thing, aren't they? It's because Australia got it first of all, or anyone on NordVPN got it in the morning in Australia, because they're doing it in time for every single region. So imagine if it gets to like West Coast America. Are they doing East Coast, West Coast separately? And by the time it gets to LA and stuff, that there's nothing for Americans. And so that would suck. Maybe they're portioned each one out. I don't know. Queues at Warhammer stores are very different in my experience. Had a full 2-hour nerd out with people around me. Nice, man. The last time I properly queued for something was, I think it was like Call of Duty Black Ops or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or 3. I remember queuing for those. That was fine. Yeah. I heard that they put almost all production capacity on the new boxes, which is why every other release is sold out in 2 minutes recently. I know, they did that reveal of Land Raiders. Like, Land Raiders are good now because of the assault rule, and they've sold out of Land Raiders. So we'll see. We've still got, I mean, at least they haven't screwed up the launch so far. We'll see when it gets to LA. But I'm glad that everyone who was looking for a box so far in the chat seems to have got a box. Has anyone got 2 boxes? Because you could order 2, right? Is anyone greedy and got 2 boxes? I can't see why you would need 2. Because you get 2 biologists and 2 of those things and 2 of the... But I heard that some people were ordering 2. But why would you order 2? 1 is enough. How many Space Marines do you need? Everyone has 1,000 Space Marines. Ben says, I do have a question when it comes to rules, by the way, before we get deeper into this. Okay, the Necron reanimation protocol thing from Warhammer community said that Necrons reanimate at the end of the command phase, right? So, in the command phase, it is written with command phase and then battle shock tests. So you do your command phase, and in the command phase everyone gains a CP, resolve any other rules that occur in the command phase, it says there, and then you go on to battle shock tests. Now, I'm assuming that you do your CP, then you resolve any other rules that happen in the command phase, apart from reanimation, and then go on to battle shock tests, and then do reanimation, because the rules for reanimation says do it at the end of the command phase, even though they've got this line here that says resolve any other rules. So, for example, in the mission pack that they've revealed, they say that you score your objectives at the end of the command phase. I'm assuming you do gain the CP, do the other rules, do the battle shocks, and then gain your CP for being on objectives at the end of the command phase after battle shocks, because some things may have broken, some units may have not broken. But sticking this rule in there that says resolve any other rules that happen in the command phase before battle shocks, it's got me all kerfuffled. I'm assuming I'm thinking about that the right way. When they say resolve any other rules that happen in the command phase before battle shock tests, what they mean is resolve any other rules that happen in the command phase before you do the battle shock tests, except for a bunch of rules that you don't resolve in the command phase. Those rules that you resolve at the end of the command phase, you roll at the end of the command phase. What are your thoughts? Does that make sense? In the start end of the command phase, I think you're right. Yeah, that's what I think. Now, surely battle shock is last, so you do all your bits, then reanimation. See, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe because you get your CP, then it says resolve all other rules, and then go to battle shock. So I'm assuming you do your command phase. This is another way of reading it. You do your CP, then you resolve all other rules, such as reanimation, gaining 5 VP for being on an objective, whatever else happens, and then do battle shock. But then if you do it that way round, if you do reanimation before battle shock, then you should also gain your VP for being on those objectives, and then do battle shock, and then fail battle shock. But the VP that you gain for objectives, it happens at the end of the command phase. So why would you gain VP, then get battle shocked, and then not get VP because suddenly you're battle shocked? I'm assuming they want you to find out whether you're battle shocked or not before you can score that objective. And if it's the case that you find out whether you're battle shocked or not before you score the objective, because if you're battle shocked you don't score the objective, if you're fine, you do score the objective at the end of the command phase. So that's why you do the battle shock before you find out whether you score it or not. And if you do that with scoring it at the end of the command phase, then surely you do reanimation protocols at the end of the command phase, which means you do it. You could get battle shocked and then reanimate into a battle shocked unit. Thoughts? I'm not getting... Well. So the end of the command phase is the end of step 1 of the command phase, and then the battle shock bit happens. You reckon? Is that true? The book says that the command phase is split into 2 steps. The battle shock... No, it doesn't say the command phase is split into the command phase. Does it? So Warhips is claiming that it's split into 2 phases. The battle shock phase, and then the command phase. I would argue that it doesn't say that. I would say that it's split into command phase, movement phase, shooting phase, charge phase. And that the command phase, both players muster strategic resources, then you test your battle readiness. That's the command phase. Then at the end of all of that, when you have mustered your strategic resources and tested your battle readiness, then you're at the end of the command phase, when you've got no other command phase things to do. I would argue that the command phase is split into 2 steps, and that battle shock is in the command phase. It's not after the end of the command phase, it's in the command phase. It's the bit on the left, command phase, page 11 of the core rules. In your command phase is split into 2 steps. In the first, both players gain 1 CP, and you resolve any other outside of the CP players gain at the start of the command phase, each player can only gain a total of 1 CP per battle round, regardless of the source. Both players gain 1 CP, and you resolve any other command phase rules in the second you see. The command phase is split into 2 steps, it says. Both players gain 1 command point, and you resolve any other command phase rules. In the second, you test to see if your units are battle shocked. Your command phase is split into 2 steps. In the first, both players gain a CP. In the second, you see if your units are battle shocked. And then that is the end of the command phase. Right? That's the end of... Those are the 2 steps that happen in the command phase. It's probably worth some designer's commentary, war hipster, yes. But in the cards that have been revealed on some channels, I didn't go through them all because there's so many, it says that you score your VP at the end of the command phase. So this definitely needs some, because the end of your command phase would be after you've done the battle shock test in the command phase. Thank you, Killer Kriesman, for your donation. Thank you. Biscuit money. I will definitely get some hobnobs with that. I appreciate you. The thing that is confusing me is it says both gears gain a CP, then resolve any other rules that occur in the command phase, then move to the battle shock bit. That second bullet confuses things for me. See, as a Necron player, I would rather gain 1 CP than resolve any other rules, such as reanimate, before I do my battle shock tests, because if I reanimate into, I might not need to have a battle shock test, and therefore I don't do the battle shock test in the command phase. But the battle shock test is part of the command phase, and I haven't reached the end of the command phase yet because I'm doing the battle shock test in the command phase. So War Hipster, I'm not sure if, but they've got that, it needs a FAQ. Japanese edition sold out in less than an hour. Only English editions available here now. Are you in Japan? Wow. Managed to get my order with Whaling Games. Hopefully I get my mind. They've been spotting it. Wow. What's going on? I thought this was going to be simple. I know. Day 1 FAQ. I know. There is... So the command phase is broken into 2. Let's break this down. The command phase... Kyle Fanoof from America Land. Thank you for your donation. You're the GOAT. No, you're the GOAT. I'm old. So thank you. The command phase is broken into 2 steps. You've got the command phase where you get a CP and resolve other actions. Then you've got the battle shock tests. You've got to do those 2 bits to get to the end of the command phase. Because then it's ended. It's over. You've got to do the battle shock bit to end it. Then I would argue that rules as written at the end of the command phase, after battle shock tests are taken, then you gain your VP or not. Because a unit that could be on objective might get battle shocked and therefore not score it. So that's why they want that to happen at the end of the command phase. You've got to find out if the unit's battle shocked. You just fought, you just got shot, you just got attacked, you just got that. Do I hold on to this objective still? We'll test for your battle shock first. If you fail your battle shock, no, you're not holding on to that objective. You don't get the VP for that objective. It happens at the end. And then reanimation also happens at the end, after all those things occur. But there's that caveat at the start of the command, before the battle shock testing, it says resolve any other pre-game stuff before going about. It needs a FAQ. It needs, I don't know. You need to fail your battle shock test before trying to score, because it makes you your OC. Exactly. Scoring wise, I agree. Winters at the end when all battle shock has happened. Exactly. So if you score at the end of the command phase, you need to find out whether you're battle shocked or not to see whether you score at the end of the command phase or not. But there's a bit in the command phase that says resolve all of the pre-game stuff. But the Necrons thing says reanimate at the end of the command phase. And that's the other thing. If you're at the end of the command phase, you've battle shocked and then reanimated into... Anyway, it needs clearing up. I have questions. I think my reading of it does it the right way. Scoring wise, I agree when it's at the end when all the battle shock has happened. Yes. So therefore the Necron thing happens after everything has happened because you reanimate at the end. So War Hipster, thanks for your... That's exactly the way I read it originally, War Hipster. And part of the reason why I was coming online today and asking people, what do you think? Tyrion to Force Battle Shock happens in the command step before the Battle Shock step. Necron's reanimations happens after Battle Shock step. We are the playtesters after all. Are we? Brilliant. You're in Hokkaido, Japan currently. What's the weather like in Japan? So yeah, thank you for everyone jumping in to the live stream today, where we answer the big questions, such as... Ask the big questions, such as how big is that Space Marine Codex going to be? I mean, look at that. That's ridiculous. And that's before there's no other like Blood Angels in there or anything like that. And this one's quite thin. It's just, yes. We ask the big questions, such as, could you kill someone with that? You could injure someone with that one. You give it a good swing, but you're not going to be breaking any bones or anything. But this one... At the end of a big stick, you could probably break, and someone puts their arm up to block it, you could probably break a femur or something. It's a girthy index. Am I wrong to feel like 8th was more fun? And maybe 10th can kind of touch on that a bit. There is a question, isn't there? There seems to be a lot of extra rules for the sake of rules. I have a concern. It's not much of a concern, but it's a little concern. It's a little niggle saying, have they gone... Could have they... Half of the... Every single thing seems to have little rules. Let's pull out a random card, for example. 27 here, hot and sunny. So let's pull out a simple card. Like, let's just grab one, any one. That was the detachment thing. We have now got everyone's seen the librarian, so we don't do that. I'm upside down. Let's play 27C and hot and sunny. No idea where you are, mate. Let's pull out the random index card for a Space Marine, and we'll pick the random rule. That one, Suppressor Squad. Suppression fire. In your shooting phase, after this unit is shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of these attacks made with an accelerator or autocannon until the start of your next turn. While this unit is on the battlefield, that enemy unit is suppressed. While the unit is suppressed, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. But they should have something. They're called suppressors. Let's pick this one. Hunter. Special rule. Each time this model makes an attack with its Sky Spear missile launcher that targets a monster or vehicle, that attack scores a hit on a modified 2-up. Special rule. No one's got hunters anyway. Who has hunters? Random. Incursor Squad. Multi-spectrum array. In your shooting phase, after this unit is shot, select one enemy unit that was hit by one or more attacks by this unit. This phase until the end of the phase, each time a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll. Let's do another one. Rubik Gulliman's got 1,000. Gladiator Valiant. See, even something like a Gladiator Valiant's got a rule. Ferocious Assault. Each time this model makes an attack with its twin Las Talon that targets the closest eligible monster or vehicle, add 1 to the hit roll. Every card, almost, has got its own little thing. Is that too many? I mean, don't get me wrong. Gladiator Valiants are cool. And if you're targeting a monster or vehicle, hitting them on 2s is nice. But do they all need special rules? Kurt L, thank you for your 3-month membership. Hello all, he says. Happy New Edition Day. Happy New Edition Day all round to everyone. Thanks for being here. Gladiator Reaper. Did I just rip that one? Rotating Death. See, the rule for the Gladiator Reaper is different from the Gladiator Valiant. This model's twin heavy onslaught Gatling cannon has the sustained hits 2 ability when targeting infantry units. What's this one? Vindicator. Siege Shield. When making a ranged attack, which is Demolisher Cannon, this model can target enemy units with engagement range. Why do they all have a rule? Iron Father Ferios. Well, he's obviously got rules because he's like the special guy. But do you know what I mean? Is it too many rules? What do we think? Too many rules, yes or no? Or is it just the right amount of rules? Because when you're playing with them, you're going to have like 8 or 9 cards right in front of you. So if you've got 8 or 9 cards in front of you and you don't ever need to look at your codex, maybe it's exactly the right amount of rules. Because it's like, oh, look at that one, or look at that one, or look at that one. But in and amongst the rules, it's not just those rules. It's like blast, lethal hits, critical hits, hazardous, all those. Mind you, we're going to get used to those words really quickly, aren't we? Those keywords. I think having it right on the cards is good. So do I. 8th edition was by far the best and most accessible. It was. You think they've nailed it? We'll see. We'll see as we get on. I think that it definitely feels different. Like 8th to 9th felt the same edition, but worse. 9th to 10th, it feels like a new edition, feels like a change. Afternoon, Shadow Wolf. Simplified, not simple. Too many rules, need a book. The books are coming. Hi, Chewy. Chewy's in the chat. Chewy, playing you tomorrow. Looking forward to it. You are bringing your Brotherhood of Martyrs, right? Making it any less rulesy would be concerning, so I think we're going to have to find the goal is fairness, whatever that is. Is the goal fairness? Is it? And smoothness. The goal is fairness and smoothness, so the king can be fun yet challenging, competitive in my mind. Fair. Yeah, the game needs to be fun, fair, smooth, balanced, all these things. I think the main goal is fun, what makes it fun. But when it is overcomplicated, then it's harder to get at your fun because there's these fun force fields in the way. So I think we need to see. I think we really need to see. Yes, it is take 2, yes. Jerome, hi Jerome. Coming from Heresy with a lot of rules up front, do you think that it's the same with 40k but with the addition of an extra rule per unit? Yes. And Captain Anophiles, thank you for your 17 months. So you popped into a GW shop, Captain, and bought it in minutes. Brilliant. They seem to have many copies out there for everyone. Everyone got it? See, Nosferatu has been out on the bike all day and just got back expecting to be disappointed. And he ordered Leviathan, first go, winner. So, hidden as a mask. So since when did perfect balance equal fun? See, that's a good question because the heresy system isn't entirely balanced, and I love it for it. It's more fun. It does look like they've made enough, Rosie. Do the cards need to be so big? They're that big. Like that big. There is quite a bit of data on some of the cards, so they probably need to be that big. Because I shouldn't really keep getting out the Space Marine ones because they're such a mess. Let's get out the Tyranid ones. So, for example, I showed these in my top 5, like the Swarm Lord. There's quite a bit of data on there. And then lost in amongst all of these cards, you've got these cards. So those are the stratagems, the 6 stratagems for Space Marines. And these are the 4 enhancements that you can put on your characters that are not epic heroes. What are epic heroes? Epic heroes are named characters. You may only bring 1 of each epic hero, and you can bring up to 3 enhancements and put 1 on each of the non-epic heroes. So the idea is you have these out because you don't need the Oath of Moment card, right? Or the Tactical Devastator Assault one. You know what that does. So you have these cards out just to remind you what your enhancements are and what strats you might want to use. And then you have like 8 other cards spread on the tape, and that's it. That will be your codex, and you'll be flipping through these. So I think it does need to be bigger than those size, because some people are old and have really bad eyes. Is the Swarm Lore narratively tied to one hive fleet? No, not anymore. It used to be, but not now. The cards are looking to be £20 to £25 from what I've heard. So, I mean, are they both going to be £20 to £25? I don't know. But you can download them for free now, can't you? Can you get the cards for free now? From PDF, you can actually get the thing. Psychic powers seem to be on the data cards for now. Would like the option to have some spell choice like AOS has. We did, yeah. I mean, they're moving away from that. The only army that seems to have the spell choice is the Thousand Suns, which don't have a psychic phase, but technically do have a psychic phase from Warhammer Community, showing you how the spells work for the Thousand Suns. They have their, what are they called? Cabal points. And depending on how many Cabal points, you can do a thing. But it's better than a psychic action because you don't need to roll for it anymore. It just does it, right? Winners, how about a Forge World card deck? That would be great. At the moment, with Leviathan being launched, I can't comment on deny on any further things that may be coming out for 10th edition. All I can talk about is the Tyranny card, the Space Marine cards, and all the contents inside the launch box. As long as the cards are optional, all the data is in the codexes, it's fine. Well, all the data is also, all the core rules are available for free online, and all the data cards as well, right? That's the thing, right? Guys, they're all available for free online. I'm sure that's what they said. I haven't been really paying much attention to exactly what Games Workshop have been saying. I've been paying more attention to other YouTuber channels and what they've been saying about it, because I want to make sure I get this right. Jez, thank you for your donation. Thank you. Winters, thanks for sharing this content. Do you think we should see sleeve? Do you think we should sleeve the data cards to protect them? Are you concerned the cards will deteriorate? Well, the cards, these cards, are made from the same sort of thing as these cards are made. And my Tempest of War cards, my Maelstrom of War cards, my Oath of Moment card, my cards from the other decks have been taking a battering. I mean, I play 2-3 times a week, every single week, and the Tempest of War cards seem fine to me. So I don't think they will deteriorate. I think they are. I think they're absolutely, I think they're fine. I think they're fine compared to what's happened to the other cards. I mean, apart from the odd brown stain on the other cards, we're good. Kyle Fanoof, thank you for your donation. Thank you. What if gamers like you, Luton, Striking Scorpion, and Tabletop Tactics teamed up to create rules that were easy, lore-friendly, and made sense? I think we'd all argue about it. There is one-page rules. There are some home brew rules out there that you can get your hands on if you want to play with less complicated rules. There are YouTube channels such as Say Hi Paul, who's been on my channel quite a lot. Say Hi Paul has his own YouTube channel, and he has homebrew house rules or house rules for the game. I tend not to house rule the rules. I try not to house rule the rules at all wherever I can, because I like to present the game as the game is, whatever version of the game is, because I've played every version of the game. So whatever version the game is right now, I'll play. It's 40k, love it, play it. What I will monkey around with is missions, because I think we should all do that from time to time and try some things out that are different and try some things out that we want to try out. Yeah. So I think whatever edition we get is the edition we get. Loving the idea of everything being listed on cards. Makes a lot more straightforward for newbie players. I've never played a game in my life, but this might go a long way to tempting me play. Exactly, as I said. I think this is a really good addition for new people to get into it, because you could bring that, bring that, bring that. You bring like 5-6 cards. If you did like an incursion level game at 1,000 points, you're literally going to have like, say, those cards and only those cards to play with, and some strats hanging around, and you're done. And then maybe the enhancement. But if your enhancement is such as, where's this one? Like Artificer Armor is the one they leaked. You give a character a 2-up save and a feel no pain. You won't need that card. You'll know that that character down there, Bob, has got a 2-up save and a 5-up feel no pain, and you've got these cards, and that's your game, and you play. The Honor Vehement. Adeptus Astartes model. Add 1 to the attacks and strength characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons. So +1 strength and attack to your captain or something. While the bearer is under the effects of the assault doctrine, add 2 attacks and add 2 strength. That gets some of those captains up to like 8-9 attacks if the assault doctrine is active. Mr. Vertigo, thank you for your 7 months. Thank you. I'm hype. GW said all the rules would be on 2 pages. Is there actually a 2-page summary spread in the Leviathan main rulebook? I don't think they said... No. I think when they said all the rules would be on 2 pages, I think what they meant that for was for the codex things. So the codex things are on 2 pages. The main rulebook has got... It's the smoothest set. It is 8th and 9th edition with bells. It is a cleaner, smoother set of rules, but it's not 2 pages. I think what they meant by 2 pages is like you have your... Where are we? God damn it. Not those ones, these ones. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Talk amongst yourselves. I think what they meant by when they said, "Hi Luton, you were up late last night. You've got a baby. You shouldn't have been up that late. Sending out videos and things." I think when they said that the everyone say hi to Luton, he's a ledge, and I love his videos. I think what they said, Mr. Vertica, when they said the rules would be on 2 pages, I think what they meant was, for example, Tyranids. Those are the army rules for Tyranids: Synapse, Shadow, and the Warp, and they're the detachment rules. So those are the army and detachment rules for Tyranids. You get that. You don't need to use any stratagems. You don't need, and then you get the cards for the Tyranids, and then you start playing. So, thank you guys for saying hi to Luton. It was a late one, wasn't it? Your video came up around midnight. Like, what am I doing with 10th edition? I know, right? Luton, I'm sat here, and there are post-it notes. It looks like someone smashed a pinata in front of me, and it's exploded all over my wall with dates and times and things like, to make sure I don't screw this up, because if there's someone disorganized in this world who could screw this up, it's me. But so far, I think I'm good. Did they send you the cards? I've not seen anyone who's had those so far. Yeah, they... Oh, I'm allowed to say... at the moment that yes, I've got the Space Marine and the Tyranid index cards with me. I'm allowed to talk about Space Marines and Tyranids and the Leviathan stuff at this time. I know the guys from Art of War got hold of the index cards as well, because they did a live stream where they went through every single card. And considering there's about, 30 Tyranid cards and about 3,000 Space Marine cards, their Space Marine live stream was very long. I do recommend to anyone in the chat, by the way, if you want an individual breakdown of every single card, go to Art of War on YouTube. The 2 of them sat there. I don't know if they're still playtesters, but they're definitely tournament bros. So they're sitting there talking through most of the cards and the implications thereof. If you're painting away to something, that's probably a really good thing to listen to. Listen to what they think of certain units. Like Space Marine Scouts are back, 2 wounds. Space Marine Scouts with camo cloaks and sniper rifles against stealth and lone operator. You can't even target them. And they're sat at the back, pew-pewing. Space Marine Scouts with sniper rifles and camo cloaks aren't going to be a thing in this edition. If they're more than 12 inches away, you can't even shoot them. And all those scouts will have the precision fire ability. So and that is law. They're back there in cover and in the middle of this raging battle. You don't know where you're getting sniped from. You're too busy trying to kill the berserker that's trying to rip your face off right here. And they've got precision fire, so they'll be taking out or trying to take out the odd character here, the odd character there. My scouts haven't seen the table since all the way through 9th edition. I've got like 40 of them painted, and I think 20 of them with sniper rifles. It'd be nice to get a unit of 5 here and a 5 there, sat back on objectives, not getting shot at, trying to plink off characters. Only 1 wound at a time, and you need to try and wound the characters, but with precision fire, you can put those shots into the characters that are leading units. Because one of the things I was found was characters, you know all those lieutenants, you're going to need a lot of them. Characters are a thing now. It's not a case of just having a HQ and then here's all the rest of my units, or here's my HQ and here's a second command and here's all the rest of my units. We're all going to be playing with about 6 or 8 characters. Maybe that's too high, but we're all going to be playing with a number of characters locked into different units. And I quite like that. Think of characters not as... The better way to think of characters now is like an upgraded sergeant or a squad commander or something like that. And he's in part of this unit and he helps that unit do something. And then you've got other units over here doing this, this, and this. And this unit, you might want to stay back so you don't need any characters in. They're camped on that objective. They're holding it down. But this unit pushing forward, which is the same, 2 same units, you might want to put a lieutenant in there or a captain in there or a librarian in there because they're going on the highway to the danger zone. So they need a bit more help and thing. Help and thing? Words, English. Tactical Marines seem forced into 10-man squad without combat squad rule seems an interesting choice. Yeah. Combat squad. Tacticals have to come in 10-man squads. They can't combat squad anymore, which means they can't go in Razorbacks anymore. But I'm old enough to remember when Tactical Marines couldn't combat squad, but then you could bring them in squads of 5 to 10 and combat squad wasn't a rule. That came in 7th combat squad mechanic, I think. Or 6th, one of them. Character first or unit first? Always unit first. Thoughts on Whirlwind? Don't know. Always unit first. Pick the units that you want to do the things with. Like you want your shooty units, you want your blocking units, you want your elite units. Pick your units. And then do you want to upgrade that unit to do a thing? Because that's essentially what the characters do. So for example, I've got a unit that wants to be able to shoot and charge in the turn. So here's an example. If you've got a holding unit of intercessors back here, 2 units of intercessors or 2 units of XYZ, whatever it might be. If one in your list is supposed to be generally staying at the back, screening, sitting on an objective, hiding away, scoring you things, you don't need any characters in that. But if you've got a large 10-man squad that you're going to use for move blocking, that you're going to use to take on units that are not elite, that you're going to use to be aggressive with, to trade out with, then it's probably worth putting a lieutenant in there, Primaris lieutenant, because then they can move, then they can fall back, shoot and charge. So always units first. Having said that, we'll see what happens as we get further into the edition. I can't believe someone's asked me, what does a whirlwind do? What does a whirlwind do? Do you know how many servitors can join units that Tech Marine has joined? Yeah, it might be worth looking at the whirlwind. I'm trying to find the whirlwind data card. See, I haven't looked through all of these cards. I just haven't. There's just too many. Whirlwind. I found it. Whirlwind comes in units of 1. They have a movement of 10, toughness of 10, a wounds characteristic of 11, pinning and bombardment. In your shooting phase, after this model is shot, if one or more of those attacks made with its Whirlwind Vengeance launcher scored a hit, that unit must take a battle shock test. Okay, so if you hit stuff, it takes a battle shock test. And the Whirlwind Vengeance launcher is D6 plus 3. It blast indirect fire. Strength 8 minus 2 damage. Ooh, that's spicy. So 4 to 9 shots at strength 8 minus 2 damage. That is a proper troop killer. It isn't heavy. So if it stands still, it's still hitting on 3s. But if it's firing indirectly, it's hitting on 4s, 4 to 9 times, strength 8 minus 2 damage. Oh, Whirlwind's back again. That seems like a very useful thing to set. Like, I put in my 5 breakdown thing. The Thunderfire Cannon looks tasty to me. The Whirlwinds actually look quite tasty. Stylus will definitely have his index cards on sleeves, guaranteed. Oh, yes. How do you feel about Incursus essentially having marker lights now? Yes, great. They do. They point at a unit and then it's +1 to hit that unit. Marker lights are better though, right? Incursors. Let's find Incursors. I should break these down into infantry and tanks. Put the tanks over there. And then the characters elsewhere because there's so many cards. How does the Incursor thing happen? Talk amongst yourselves. Intercessors, Hellblasters, Invicta Tactical Warsuit, Primer, Captain, Lieutenant. So many characters. Servitors, where are they? They're going over there. Because I think what marker lights do is actually... See, in the core rules, your pluses to hit, you can only get +1 or -1 to hit, right? So if your army hits on 4s, then you can only ever improve that to a 3 or reduce it to a 5. Your to hit roll can only ever be improved by +1 or -1. But what marker lights do is they improve the ballistic skill. So when a unit gets hit by marker lights or observed by marker lights, the ballistic skill of the Tau shooting at them is now 3. And then if they stay still, they can hit on 2s. See how they got around that? So your to hit roll can only go up or down by 1, but your ballistic skill can go up or down higher depending on certain rules. And are you saying that the Incursors can increase or decrease ballistic skill, which is what I'm interested in? Because if Incursors can increase or decrease ballistic skill, then that's potent, because then you can get your plus to your ballistic skill, and then you can get your plus to hit. And there are 1,000 goddamn cards in this thing. So keep talking amongst yourselves. Tyrannic War Veterans. Is that Euroventrius? Euroventrius! I need to check him out. You guys have read the Euroventrius trilogy, right? Vindicator. I can't find the card. It's there. There are all the characters. Just a hit roll on the Incursor, I think. Forgot my yeah, okay. So thank you for having me look through the remainder of the cards. Yes, marker lights are better than Incursors. If Incursors increase or decrease ballistic skill, then that ain't great. That's nice. That's a nice ability to have. It depends what you want to do with it. It depends. Some Space Marine forces will be coming forward to smash face. Some Space Marine forces will be more shooty. Some Space Marine forces will be more Ultramarine, which is more tactical, and they'll be designed to work in all of the Assault Doctrine, Devastator Doctrine, Tactical. Ultramarines more flexibility. So Incursors in an Ultramarine list sound like a thing, as far as I can see. I'm not looking for more. I like how characters will function now. Should countercast it. What? A lot of these individual variants are going to make you order. How's Bobby G looking? Look at the Warhammer community web page. He's on that. Euroventrius had a datasheet in 9th edition. He's not changed except for the Deep Strike ability. He doesn't have Deep Strike. Did he have Deep Strike before? Euroventrius, Sword of Aetius. It's got 6 attacks. And he strength 6 minus 2 damage, which is quite nice. Unorthodox Strategist. While this model is leading a unit, you can target a unit with a stratagem, even if that stratagem has already been used on another unit from your army. Okay. So if your strat has already been used, you can do another strat. And in addition, this model's unit can still be selected as a target of a stratagem while battle shocked. Interesting. Master of the Fleet. Declare the battle formations during the declare battle formation step. If your army includes this model, select an infantry unit from your army and they gain Deep Strike. Ooh. So you can pick a unit to Deep Strike in, such as Blade Guard Veterans. Does every model in the unit need to have the Deep Strike ability? Can he join that unit? What does Deep Strike say? aircraft, mustering your army, pre-game. No, it's this way. I know it's before the stratagem page. Deep strike. If every model in a unit has this ability, you can set it up. Right, okay. So you can point to a unit and make them deep strike, but he isn't deep striking him himself. No Leviathan Dreads. Want to see the updated sheet. No Leviathan Dreads in here. There is Contemptor Dreadnought. I'm new to the hobby. Yet to play a game, but are points thing in 10th? Yes, they are. Points are in 10th. The points have not been released yet. The points will be coming out at some point in the run-up to 10th edition. But if he joins a unit, isn't he part of the unit? Yeah, he can join a unit and he'll be part of the unit. But the rule for Deep Strike says that if every model in the unit has the Deep Strike ability, his model does not have Deep Strike. So you can join a unit with Deep Strike and then you can't Deep Strike because that model doesn't have Deep Strike. Will the points be on the cards? The points are not on the cards, no. You will need to get the cards either from the free PDF from Games Workshop or buy the cards or get them in the codex whenever the codex comes out. The points will be coming out at some point. Who knows? Have they said? I'm not allowed to say. You believe they're getting updated every 3 months now, Shadow Wolf? Are the points going to be updated every 3 months? If they kept the points out of the... That's a really good idea. That's a genius idea. Imagine if Games Workshop kept the points out of the codexes entirely and the points were always free to download online all the time and the points just changed every 3 months. So it doesn't matter whether you played once every 9 months, once every 12 months. It doesn't matter how infrequently you play. Whether you only play 10th edition twice because you're a completely casual gamer and you're more of a collector, more of a painter, more of a hobbyist, but you want to throw down, then you can go to wherever the points are and they'll have a points place and you go there and you get your points and then you figure it out. That would be genius if it's not in the book. And in the codexes it says, go to this place to get the points. And the points are always the most up-to-date thing. It makes it so much easier for anyone who's out of the hobby because they'll always be playing with the most up-to-date points, and instead of digging through facts, instead of digging through this or digging through that, they know where to go because it should say in the book or somewhere. And then also for competitive people, when Games Workshop find out stuff is broken, they can balance it every 3 months, every 3 months, every 3 months by upping the points or lowering the points. Because one of the things I have a big problem with, I mean, hands up if you agree with me on this one in the chat, please. But I don't like the balanced data slate. I don't like them balancing the game with rules. Saying, well, that rule is a bit more powerful, so we'll get rid of that one. Or this rule is sucks, so we'll improve that. I don't like rules changes through the edition. I think that just added layers and layers and layers of complexity in. Particularly when we had rules for like, now your whole army gets Armor of Contempt. And then 6 months later on, now your army no longer has Armor of Contempt. They add in rules and then they take out the rules. And then you don't know whether you're coming or going. Is that rule now a thing or is that rule now a thing? The better way to balance a game is points, right? Free points and frequent updates are needed since GW don't play test. Yeah, just costing stuff up or down is the perfect way to balance. Hello, Captain and Felice. Hands up, you agree with me on that one. Anyone else agree with me on that one? Or thumbs down if you don't agree. Who likes the balanced data slate? Anyone like the idea of the balanced data slate? See, the thing is, if something's completely broken, say this 60-point thing is completely broken, you just make it 600 points. You can put points up, and that prior to balanced data slates being a thing, they used to balance everything through points anyway. That's why points exist. The Warlord Battle Titan costs 78,000 points because it's a Warlord Battle Titan. A Grot costs 2 points because it's a Grot. Balance with points, not with rules. That's what I say. It's not possible. It's not possible to like the balanced data slate. Shadow Wolf, it got confusing in ninth, didn't it? Didn't it just? Which rules were... I remember halfway through filming one of the battle reports saying, da, 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 and then we're not doing that because this rule. And my opponent said, I forget which game it was. It was definitely with the 13th. He said, no, that's been done. I was like, what? They changed the rule. I'm like, what? They changed the... So it was like, okay, pause. We try and make the battle reports as accurate as they can be. So then go into the balance deck, go and find the thing, read it, double check it, right, okay, delete that bit of footage, go back, refilm. It literally happened in the middle of a battle report. And I do this for a living and thought I was all over it and got the balance data slate before and read the balance data slate, but that rule just gone from the brain because you're so conditioned to read that rule. I forget what the rule was. It was something to do with, was it Armor of Contempt? It probably was Armor of Contempt. I was probably like, Armor of Contempt's here now. Armor of Contempt's a thing, so they're not going to take it out, but they did take it out. It was Armor of Contempt. It was Armor of Contempt. Wasn't Dark Mechanicum supposed to be a thing? Dark Mechanicum is a thing, and I am 99% certain, no, I'm 100% certain, in my opinion, this is guesswork, that Dark Mechanicum is coming in 10th. They've told us that Emperor's Children is coming in 10th. They've told us. Well, they haven't said in 10th. They've just told us that Emperor's Children is coming and that all 4 of the Chaos Gods will be represented. They've told us that. They haven't told us anything about Dark Mechanicum, but Vashtor is here, and there are a couple of names and a couple of bits dropped in the Arcs of Omen books, like a couple of little teasers, like this sort of demon engine and that sort of demon engine. They mention new names for demon engines that don't even exist. And when they put them in a Black Library novel, that's just an author making up some stuff, and those things might not ever see the light of day. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. When they put it in source books, such as those produced by Games Workshop and written in a studio rather than by an individual author, when they say that, that's why everyone knew that Angron was coming and the Lion was coming before they came out, apart from all the leaks. But way back, they start putting nuggets in source books. So also another Primarch that they put 2 Primarchs, named Primarchs, inside the source books for the Arcs of Omen run up. In all the narrative there, they mentioned Fulgrim by name, and they mentioned Perturabo by name. Perturabo once, but Fulgrim on more than one occasion in the source book. So they're coming. Watch Dark Mechanicum is just a bunch of upgraded sprues. No, I think they've got quite a nice spread of demon engines now. The Mauler Fiends, Forge Fiends, Defilers, Venom Crawlers, Disco Lord. I think they should go ham. All the newer demon engines, that they have released over the last couple of editions look cool. Mephitic Blight Haulers, Fetid Bloat Drones, they look cool. So I don't think Chaos in the old days was, here's a Rhino and some spiky bits. Here's a Land Raider and some spiky bits. Here's some bikers and some spiky bits. That's what Chaos was. And they've gone away from that for some time now. So when Dark Mech comes out, I hope it's disgusting and resilient. I hope it's got more than, it won't have just some spiky bits on it. It'll look brutal, I'm sure. Luton says up there, all I know is if I get to playing a game with Winters, Vortex Grenades will be mandatory. Okay, we'll definitely bring some Vortex Grenades in. That'd be awesome. Vortex Grenades are still in the Horus Heresy. They're still a thing. And we still don't have separate obliterators. I know, right? Can we even get hold of obliterators? Are they still in that Chaos Space Marine box where you have to buy them with the Venom Crawlers and the other things? Can you actually buy obliterators on their own right now? I don't think you can, right? Games Workshop being Games. You want obliterators, right? Obliterators are really good. No, you have to buy it in this other box with a Rhino and some Chaos Space Marines. Yeah. Vortex Grenades should stay in play and scatter every turn like they did back in second. It's Vortex Grenades are still a thing, just in another game system. Everything since the Hellbrute has been great for demon engines. Yeah, I love you too, Jelly. The Dark Death Guard ones, the Death Guard demon engines are awesome, and I like Venom Crawlers and Forge Fiends, and the new Obliterator sculpts look cool, and they all look good. Obliterators, you can get them with a Venom Crawler, but none of the Shadow Spear models. None of the other Shadow Spear models. Yeah, so they don't actually sell Obliterator on their own. And there's only 2 fixed sculpts for them. We need more obliterators. Obliterators are cool. What happened to the other ones? You know, obliterators were the shooty versions, mutilators. Do you remember they had obliterators and mutilators? And then obliterators toughened up, got bigger and got cooler. What happened to the mutilators? I wish we had the grenades back, like anti-plant, blind grenades. Well, in Horus Heresy, Luton, there is shroud grenades, blind grenades. You're such an old school player, Luton. Are you sure that you want to play 10th edition? Maybe you just want to play Horus Heresy, because Horus Heresy, the bones of Horus Heresy system, the rule set for Horus is second. is second, third, fourth. It's the old system with some nuts and bolts added on. It's got all that shenanigans in. So and they've taken out all that shenanigans. That shenanigans is long dead in Warhammer 40k. Instead, we have shenanigans like this. Random card time, people. Blade Guard, not that one. We know it. Random Guard. Vanguard Veteran with jump packs. Each time this unit ends a charge move until the end of the turn, melee weapons equipped by models in this unit have lethal hits. That's 6 is to hit, auto wound. See? Random rule. Everywhere there's a card, there's a rule. Could play 2nd edition. See, Luton, 2nd edition, yes, but yes, you could. You can play any edition that you want to play. There's no anyone out. I still talk to people in my Discord who are playing 7th because they refuse to do the 8th, 9th thing. You can play whatever edition that you want to play. It would be fun to play 2nd edition rules, but with modern units. It would. It would be fun. It would be fun. I don't know if my brain could handle it. I don't know if I could brain handle it. JP4WT plays 10th edition and Horus Heresy. Yeah, that's me. I mean, I'll be playing 10th edition and Horus Heresy. Do you want another random card? Judicar. Temper Mortis. While this model is leading a unit, that unit has fights first. Fights first is rare, people. Fight first is rare and powerful. Silent Fury. Each time this model destroys an enemy character model, that's not going to happen very often, is it? Until the end of the battle, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of its Executioner Blade, and it's got 5 at strength 7 minus 2 damage. 1 and 2, yeah. 1 and 2 were one rule set. 3 to 7 was another, and 8 and 9, yeah. I don't think 10th is a new rule set. No, I would say that there have been 3 editions of Warhammer 40k, 1st and 2nd, 3rd to 7th, and 8th, 9th, and 10th. Because 10th is 8th and 9th tweaked. 10th is the same mechanics, the same core mechanics. So the core mechanics for 3 through 7th changed. And the core mechanics in here from 9th to 10th are the same. The way you hit, the way you wound, the way you save. The changes are Psychic Phase gone and Battle Shock. So the phases have been trimmed down. The other main change, so Battle Shock and the phases train, you'll feel that as soon as you play. The other main change is how stuff moves. So nothing is ever slowed down by the terrain anymore. Stuff is only ever slowed down by interactions with other units that make it slow down. No charging through cover, -2, things like that. And also the movement on the battlefield when you consolidate, when you pile in, when you think. So the main feel of the edition, the main core rules feels the same as playing 9th. It feels like a different game, but it's very easy to understand if you played 8th, 9th. If you didn't play 8th or 9th, you'll be starting from scratch, and then it's easier to understand than starting from scratch. I wonder how many scatter dice I've one scatter dice. I should have so many. I've lost underneath. You know, you see the shelves. There is dice. There are pubes. There are fur balls. There are dead animals. There is under there. There is a smorgasbord of gaming material. I never look under there. It's a black hole. Black Hole of Death. Simon Kolb, thank you for joining the 13th. Thank you. Thank you to all of my other channel members as well who are in the chat. Thank you for supporting me. If you do join at tier 3 and you're listening, then you join my community. That gets you access to the Discord and gets you access to all the extra videos I produce. There's about a dozen Horus Heresy battle reports up there for members now, and 3 narrative campaigns and lots of stuff. There's loads of extra juice there as a reward for all the channel members who help keep the lights on. I appreciate you. Pubes, yeah. Under the thing, you know, like when you get down, you have a proper look. The stuff, it's a nightmare. 9th to 10th changes are tweaks rather than a complete change. Yeah, like the vehicle rules between 7th and 8th. Yeah, the complete different. Like vehicles in 7th, you had armor facing values, you had weapon facing values. Vehicles could get immobilized while going over a thing. Vehicles could blow up, one shot with a melter, boom, gone. And that completely changed in 8th. And vehicles in this edition, 10th and 9th, react the same way. None of those mechanics happen. The only difference is between vehicles in 9th and 10th is instead of degrading twice, you only degrade once. And it doesn't affect your movement in almost all cases that I've seen anyway. It seems to affect your ability to shoot and your objective control. So there was nothing more frustrating then. I mean, let's check some of that. Like the Land Raider. When it's on 1 to 5 wounds, each time this model makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So it keeps its OC of 5, is -1 to hit, but it's still moving 12, even when it's really reduced. The Whirlwind, 1 to 4 wounds, -1 for the hit roll. That's it. Brutalis Dreadnought, 1 to 4 wounds. Each time this, -1 to hit roll, which is cool because how many times in 8th and 9th edition did your vehicle get hit and hit again, and then its movement's down to 3 or something, and then it was and it can't really go anywhere, and then your vehicle was hitting on 5s, but because it was firing through trees or at a flyer or something, it was hitting on 6s. Basically, as soon as your vehicles got to the point that they were so degraded, they were on their lowest profile, but they couldn't really move anywhere. And they couldn't really shoot anything because their movement was so slow and their shooting was only hitting on 6s. But I like the fact that in all the ones I've looked at so far, at least, their movement stays the same, because that was more frustrating than hitting on. Because okay, this Land Raider is moving 12. The Brutalis Dreadnought is always moving 8. It's just the minuses to hit. Let's take a look at the random card, the Brutalis Dreadnought. Brutalis Charge. Each time, the multi-melters that you can put in its chest, they're not 4 shots anymore. They're 2 shots twin linked. So reroll a wound. Each time this model ends a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range of your Brutalis Dreadnought. Roll a d6. On a 2 to 3, so 1 nothing happens. 2 to 3, d3 mortal wounds. On a 4 and 5, 3 mortal wounds. And on a 6, d3 plus 3, owie. Owie. I gotta get me one of those. So every time it ends a charge move, select an enemy unit in engagement range. On a 2 plus d3, 4 to 5, 3, 6 d3 plus 3 before you smack. And its fists are nasty. 6 attacks with Brutalis Twin Link Fists. No, the Brutalis Twin Link Talons. Don't get the fists. Brutalis Talons has strike attack or sweep attack. The strike attack, 6 hits. Strength 12 minus 2, 3 damage. Or 10 hits. Strength 7 minus 2, 1 damage. And all of them twin linked. So all re-roll in a wound. He's a really... In a Blood Angels list, like a White Scars list, or a Black Templars list, in aggressive type Space Marine lists, we're going to see a lot of those fellas. Marius, thank you for your 5 months membership. Have you seen that the Brutalis can be transported in the Storm Raven because it has the Dreadnought keyword? Is that a thing? That's going to get fact, surely. I mean, yeah, it has the Dreadnought keyword. I can't see flyers coming very often. Where is the Storm Raven? Hanging under the gravity hook from a Storm Raven gunship, a big Brutalis Dreadnought. Where is the Storm Raven? Talk amongst yourselves. Which Primarch is coming next winters? My money's on Fulgrim. If you say Loyalist, I think it's probably Russ. But I want to see Korax or the Khan or someone like that first. Where the hell is the Storm Raven gunship? I'm not Russ, yeah. Yeah, Storm Ravens no longer have wounds limit on Dreadnoughts, just the keyword. Do they? Okay, I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to find it. What does the new one do? You guys seen the new one? The Ballistus, a Dreadnought, which Luton did a really nice paint job of. I like those. I like you sharing your hobby stuff with us, Luton, like that. How you're getting on, what you're doing. It's like one of us, one of us. Basilisk Strike. Each time this model makes a ranged attack that targets a unit that is not below half strength, you can reroll the hit. You reroll all hits. So when you're shooting at something that's healthy, you reroll all hits all the time. Not below half strength. Reroll the hit roll all the time. And it's las cannon. The Ballistus las cannon on that thing, that's a strength 12 las cannon. Strength 12. Strength 12? Strength 12. Minus 3, D3, D6 plus 1. And the missile launcher is just frag and crack. 1 minute. This crack grenade is strength 10 minus 2, D6. I'm sure I've seen some crack grenades that are strength 9. Have they done different strengths for different weapons? They haven't, have they? Land speeder Typhoon. Okay. Yeah. So this is a Ballistus missile launcher with frag and crack. And the frag is strength 5, 1 damage. And the Ballistus missile launcher is strength 10, D6 damage. And then this, that's a Ballistus missile launcher. And then the Typhoon missile launcher says Typhoon missile launcher. And that's strength 4 or strength 9. This one's strength 5 or strength 10. See that little layer of complexity? Now, I get the fact. Actually, see, maybe I'm just being old. Maybe I'm just being old, and my Cyclone missile launchers and my missile launchers always had the same strength and damage and everything. So it didn't matter whether the missile launcher was on the back of a Terminator or on the back of a tank. It had the same strength and damage. But I really remember now, like the first time I went into Games Workshop to buy an army, like I was playing and mucking around in first, second, third, and mainly playing Epic, and mainly playing Blood Bowl, and mainly playing a lot of Space Hulk and stuff like that, and collecting and hobbying Warhammer 40k and trying to play the odd game here or there. I didn't fully play it. In 4th edition, it was like, right, I'm jumping in, I'm going for it. And I remember walking in the Games Workshop and buying a Predator and buying some Devastators and being surprised that the strength of the las cannons on the Predator and the offensive output of the Predator, the damage that it could put out was the same as a unit of Devastators. The las cannons were the same, and it didn't matter whether it was mounted on a tank or being carried by the Space Marine. And I distinctly remember thinking that was weird back in 4th edition. Like, sure, the Predator Twin Las is twin linked, which was one-shot reroll a hit back then, not reroll a wound. Why can't it be shred? Why can't it be shred? I remember thinking, surely the las cannon on top of the Predator should be more powerful than the one that they're both las cannons, but that's a bigger las cannon. So the fact that the missile launcher profile in both of these, Typhoon Land Speeder and the the Dreadnought, the fact that the missiles in here, that this one is 1 pip strength higher than this one, from a gaming point of view, annoying. But from a lore point of view, the guns on this are bigger, much bigger than the guns on that. The missiles that this is chucking out are bigger, much bigger than the missiles on that. So 4th edition me wandering into the shop now going, oh yeah, look, the guns on that one are definitely, they're the bigger ones because it's on a bigger thing. From a lore point of view, it makes a lot of sense. But it's a different missile, it's a different system and could be better, bigger missile. Exactly. But previously, the missile launchers, frag and crack, wherever you found a frag missile or a crack missile in whatever faction, fragmentation missiles were always strength 4 and crack missiles were always strength 8, and it didn't matter what weapon system you found it on, for ease. I've also noticed, for example, the heavy bolters. I was doing the heavy bolter, the stern guard heavy bolter is called a stern guard heavy bolter, and that one's got devastating wounds. And then you can put a heavy bolter on the heavy intercessors, and that one hasn't got devastating wounds. And that's literally, but they've got different names. So, yeah, 10th edition will have those. I think, guess, all the guys listening to this now and people will watch it afterwards. That's one of the things to watch out for when you're playing your game. Don't assume that the heavy bolter on that thing is the same over there. The missile launcher there is the same one there. If you're playing Eldari, I don't know why. But if you're playing Eldari because you're a soulless individual and you love those craft welders because you have nothing inside yourself, you're just this crushed, ruined thing, and that you need to feed, soulless, that she who thirsts has already taken it from you, then if you're playing Eldari, then don't assume that your Bright Lance here is the same as the Bright Lance there. Why do we have to have Eldar players? Why can't we just... I mean, they're the dying race, right? Why can't they be gone? We just be stuck with Drukhari and Harlequins. Why can't they just... They're over. Their time to shine has shone. Blind missiles, Luton. Blind now in Horus Heresy, you have to take an initiative test, and if you fail the test, then you're snap firing next turn. That's why my army is Yunari. They want to destroy the galaxy. Yes, speed it up. I'm down with any flavour of Eldari other than those stuck-up craft welders. I mean, honestly. You know the Great Rift ripped the galaxy in half? How were they able to do that? Eye of Terror. Whose fault was the Eye of Terror? Eldari. Old ones. By making the... Old ones, probably. By making the Eldari in the first. But no, them. See? So, when we've got this whole galaxy ripped in half thing, it's all the Eldar's fault. It's got nothing to do with Abaddon or the old ones at all. Q Austin Powers. Why won't you die? I'm selling my Eldar and starting an Orc truck mech army. Perfect, caring commissar. That's the way to go. Get rid of those pesky Eldar. They are the dying race. The only way to play them, if you want to play with them, is as Luton's doing, is as Yunari, throwing themselves into the teeth of death so they get slaughtered quicker and quicker and quicker, and beef up the Incarn so he can do its things. Question. In 10th, if I wanted to run a Storm Raven gunship with a Terminator squad and a Dread, do I have to disembark before I move or after I move? I've never used a flyer in game. Well, it depends whether you're hovering or whether you're in aircraft mode. So a Storm Raven gunship is an aircraft, and before the game begins, you need to declare whether your aircraft is flying or in hover mode, and it remains in that mode until the end of the game. We'll get to the aircraft rules. Previously, it could switch between modes, but now you've got to say, right, okay, my aircraft is, where is it, hovering or flying or doing its thing, okay? Hover. Some aircraft have the hover listed in their abilities. While you're instructed to declare battle formations before doing anything else, you must declare that. If it's in hover mode... Hay fever, I'm fine. It loses associated rules for being an aircraft model. Models in hover mode do not start the battle in reserve. Where are we? Yeah. Before you declare battle formations during anything else, you must first declare which models from your army will be in hover mode. If it is in hover mode until the end of the battle, its move characteristic is changed and lose the aircraft keyword. However, even if it stays in aircraft mode, flying around all over the place, there is aircraft in movement phase, aircraft in movement of other models, and aircraft in charge and flight phases. So you can still disembark or embark in it, even if it is flying. What was the question? Yeah, and so you can disembark from any vehicle after it moved. If you disembark from a vehicle after it moved, the unit that got out of it counts as making a normal move and can't charge. If you disembark from it before it moves, then the unit that disembarked from it doesn't count as moving and can then proceed to make a normal move, advanced move, charge move. Hopefully that answers your question. I don't know if the Storm Raven has the assault ramp keywords. Someone out there will let you know. Guys, does the Storm Raven has the assault keyword? I don't think it has. Something in my brain, I can't remember it all. Something in my brain says it didn't have the assault keyword like a Land Raider, which is a shame because it's a flying Land Raider. Guys, Storm Ravens. No, it doesn't have the assault keyword. So armored resilience, each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract 1 from the damage characteristics of that attack. That's the rule that it has. And it can transport 12 Adeptus Astartes infantry and 1 dreadnought. So it can have a Brutalis swinging away underneath it. Each jump pack, Wolfen, Gravis and Terminator model takes up the space of 2 models, and each Centurion model takes up the space of 3 models. So Storm Raven gunship, you can put anything in it that you want to put in it. It is not tied to Primaris or Terminators or not. Like, for example, Terminators you can't put in drop pods, and Rhinos you never could. Some things you can't put in some vehicles. So you can put whatever you want in it. It's got a transport capacity of 12, and you can have a Brutalis Dreadnought swinging away under the gravity thing. Yeah. Disembarking. Yeah, basically, you're disembarking from a flyer like the APC and aliens coming out of the dropship. They're dropping out and moving. But if they get out before it moves, so you can get out before or after it moves. Yeah. Luton. I tell you a battle I want to do. Something like Hive Rebellion, an army of gangers and random cultists as rebelling citizens, and a small team of guard, Arbeiters, having to stop them. Nice. There is some... Yeah. Where are we? I'm expecting all indexes over the next 2 weeks of points in the box set day. You still can't put intercessors in rhinos. I find that kind of silly. Not really. There are rules for... Yeah, I mean, intercessors and rhinos. Yeah, no. What they've given... What they're saying is tactically... So, law speaking... They've said this on the website, I think. I forget why. They said law speaking... Outside of a combat situation, Primaris can get in rhinos, Primaris can get in this, and tactical marines can get inside impulsors and repulsors and things like that. They can get in each other's vehicles, but within a combat setting, you put your marines in this one, you put your riflemen in that one, you put your other guys in. I mean, think about the modern military. Different units are assigned to different types of vehicles in order to get the job done. So they're saying tactical marines, stern guard, certain units are assigned to these vehicle classes, certain units are assigned to these vehicle classes, and you can't put a Terminator in a Dreadnought. A Terminator in a Dreadnought? That would be painful. You can't put a Terminator in a drop pod. There's certain things that you can't assign to certain classes. But there are some, like Land Raiders and Storm Ravens, that you can put anything in. So it's a halfway house. We're not where we want it to be, but it's law-wise, it kind of makes it. Yeah. Rhinos are too small. Small rhinos. Those are just for sisters now. Yeah. No, outside of the law, I mean, there's books as well where intercessors, literally in the Godblight book, they're literally intercessors in rhinos there. But they're not in a combat situation. They're going from A to B. So in a combat situation, you've got certain APCs for certain things and certain vehicles for other things. That's what they're telling us why these decisions are. But we really do know what the decisions are, don't we? We do know that over time, all the firstborn stuff, all the firstborn stuff is going to get phased out, maybe. Oh, well, no, having said that, before 10th Ed came out, I remember saying on a live stream once or twice that all the firstborn stuff is probably going to get phased out and end up in Horus Heresy. But Sterngard are in the launch box and they're firstborn. So that means they're going to Sterngard the Vanguard. They're going to Sterngard. So maybe all the firstborn stuff is staying now, or a chunk of the firstborn stuff is staying now. Just getting updated. So beforehand, I thought maybe it was all going. Now I'm thinking maybe all of it isn't going. Maybe a good chunk of it is going to stay. One of the things that will definitely guarantee that it stays is if 10th edition is a success, and it looks like it is a success because people are talking about it everywhere and everyone's very hyped for it. Whether it's successful as 8th edition or not, we'll have to find out. But it looks like 10th edition is going to be a success. And if people buy a lot of stuff, then why would they? I don't know now. They might be keeping a chunk of firstborn stuff. I assumed before this edition came out that there was a path where the firstborn stuff would eventually, over time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, end up in the Horus Heresy rules system. And that's where you play with it. You can collect whatever you want. It's a collection. You don't even have to play with this stuff. You can collect, you can paint, you can read the books, but if you want to play with it, that eventually 5 or 10 years time, all the firstborn stuff would end up in the Horus Heresy system, and all the Primaris stuff would then be in 40k. But I'm not sure now, because Sterngard they've been upgraded. I'm assuming Vanguard are going to get upgraded. I'm assuming a bunch of other kits are going to get upgraded. I'm assuming that the sales will. We shall see. We just have to see what their plan is. Yeah, where are we? Guy in store today said to me, and I quote, "A number of the firstborn have crossed the Rubicon." I just looked at it and went, "Oh, okay." Well, it's not just that they're crossing the Rubicon. So some of them have crossed the Rubicon, but here's the other thing. There is, in the making of a Space Marine, so let's say that they grabbed you, you're a 10-year-old boy, they grab you and turn you into a Space Marine. There used to be 19 ingredients that they would stick in there: eye of toad, wing of bat, broomstick, a little bit of paprika, stir it round, 19 ingredients, bam, you're a Space Marine. Now it's 22 or 23, depending on sources, but now it's just 3 more. So every new inductee who becomes a Space Marine will have the Belisarian furnace in them. They'll have the extra biomodification. They'll have the extra bits. They'll have the extra ingredients. So it's not just that. So as the firstborn die, because only in death does duty end, it is inevitable in X number of law years' time, 10 years' time, 100 years' time, 1,000. I mean, Dante's been around for a long time, but let's say Dante bites the bucket in the next. Let's say all the firstborn Marines bite the bucket in the next 100 years. Then virtually all of the Marines going forward after that will be Primarisified, because they'll just have a few more ingredients stuck in on them. It's not just a case of them crossing the Rubicon. That's one excuse. Another excuse is Blood Angels, Ultramarines, Space Wolves, Raven Guard. All of these guys are just they're just Primarisifying all the new guys now. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. They don't make Firstborn anymore. They don't make Firstborn anymore, don't they? Because it's easier to make Primaris? Question mark. It's neither. It's not easier to make Primaris. It's just they're just better. They're not better. They're a bit more resilient. That's all. They have a few more body modifications done to them. Fabius Bile is crying in his cornflakes. He's been trying it for 10,000 years. Belisarius Cawl knocked it out of the park. They're a bit tougher. Grey Knights will get there in the end. Once Guilliman figures out that Titan exists, he will give them the tech that they need. Here, add these bits of machinery in the lab, and when you put the kid through the thing, don't stop at 19, add a few more bits, done. Grey Knights will get there in the end. Do you think Oath of Moment is overpowered? Yes, it is very powerful. I said that in the live stream. I got roasted saying Oath of Moment is doom and guide for your entire army. And anyone in the chat who's ever played 7th, 6th, 5th edition Eldari, one of the reasons why I hate Eldari is doom and guide. They'd point at a unit and doom it and guide it. So that means their entire army is re-rolling wounds against that unit, but guide only affected one of their units shooting in. Mind you, in 7th edition, you could guide one unit and guide another unit and guide. You could do a couple of guides. And doom and guide, re-rolling the hit and re-rolling the wound with some units into one unit was uber. And now pointing at a unit and the entire Space Marines pointing at can re-roll all hits and all wounds. It's powerful. It's not as powerful as the fate dice that the Eldari will get, which is 12 sixes as long as the game carries on. Primaris Grey Knights is a downgrade. If they rescale Grey Knights, I'll buy a Grey Knights army. I collect Grey Knights. I love Grey Knights, the elite of the elites, and I'm looking forward to my new Primaris Overlords. I want to play Primaris Grey Knights. Haven't the new Stern Guard got the Tacticus keyword on the datasheet, i.e. across the Rumagon and Primosified? I don't think so. As far as I can call, the Stern Guard is still Stern Guard. Yeah, there is no Primaris keyword anymore. It doesn't exist on any of these. Primaris is not a thing. In the rules, Primaris is not a thing. Up here, it might say Primaris Lieutenant or Primaris Captain. So this one, for example, that is a Primaris Captain. Down here, no. There is Primaris down there. Damn it. Okay, some of them have got Primaris. Ignore everything I just said. See, there's just so many cards. So much to get your head around. Okay, ignore that bit completely. There is a Primaris keyword. There is Primaris Dreadnoughts. Yeah. I thought, is it say Primaris in the Dreadnought thing? Yeah, so like you got Redemptor Dreadnought. And this is where I got the idea from. Down there in the keyword section, it doesn't say Primaris. It just says Redemptor Dreadnought. Like Heavy Intercessor Squad. Yeah? Keywords. There's no Primaris in their keyword. No Primaris. Tactical Gravis Phobos Reaver. It's been teched. Also, in here, in the lore, the crossing of the Rubicon and the Primaris thing, it's just a chapter. It's not as big. It's just blurred into the whole lore. Like there was a heresy, there's 10,000 years, and then we're now at the end times, and we have the Indomitus Crusade and an upgraded new breed of Space Marines that are blurred into all the other Space Marines, with loads of other bits of kit. And now we're here fighting the Fourth Tyrannic War. It just becomes a footnote. And that's what's going to happen to the Primaris lore and rules over time. It's just another one of these things that occurred and another one of these things that's happened. Wonder why the Firstborn Tech Marine has one less wound. When captains, chaplains, etc. have the same wounds. I'm going to miss the Predator when it's retired. I love my Gladiators, but I'll still miss it. Yeah. Are they going to retire it though? They've got to retire. At some point, the injection mold will fail, and they'll have to retire it. But I know nothing. I know nothing, Jon Snow, about the life of these bits of kits. Let's pick a random card. Invader. ATV. Invader ATV. Outrider Escort. Once per turn in your opponent's shooting phase, when a friendly Adeptus Astartes mounted unit within 6 inches of this model is selected as the target of an attack, this model can use this ability. If it does, after that enemy unit has finished making its attack, this model can shoot at it as if it was your shooting phase. But when resolving those attacks, it can only target the enemy unit, and only if it is an eligible target. Outrider Escort. So when a friendly Adeptus Astartes mounted unit, when a biker unit gets shot at within 6 inches of one of these, this can shoot back at the thing that shot at it. Hello, White Scars. You have some Outriders zipping up. It says mounted unit as well, so that could be a biker unit, Outrider unit, whatever. And then you have a couple of these behind. They come in units of 1 now. And then it can shoot back for free as if it was your shooting phase. Outriders come in units of 6, and you can attach these 2 units of Outriders. You can have a unit of 6 Outriders and an ATV in a unit. It's nice. The new Invictor Invictor rule with Phobos units is amazing. Like Chaplain, 6 Outriders and an ATV. Yeah, you can have a bike Chaplain, 6 Outriders and an ATV. But if you're doing it, have a bike Chaplain, 12 Outriders, 2 ATVs, and then back it up with some of the new speeders. If you're doing it, do it. Like lean into that look. Captain Lysander has an awesome ability. Thoughts on Hellblasters getting to shoot again if they kill themselves with their own O charge? Well, I do like the new hazardous rule a lot. So remember when you had Hellblasters, you had to roll 3 individually, then 3 individually, then 3 individually, then 3 individually, because if you got a 1, the whole model got removed, and it sucked. Now you can roll all the dice together, and then you count how many models you've got in your squad. Like I've got 7 there, so I roll all my dice together, do all your hits, do all your wounds, do all your things. You got 7 there, then you roll 7 dice. You roll a dice for every model that you have, and then any 1 that you get, you put a mortal wound on the unit. So it doesn't even kill a whole guy. You'd have to get 2 ones to kill a whole model in the unit. Every time a Hellblaster dies, you roll a dice, and on a 4+, they get to shoot again. So if they die while they're shooting through a hazardous check, what are my thoughts on them? I like it, because my narrative brain in me is saying, they're shooting away and shooting away and shooting away. They're much less likely to die to hazardous stuff. But if one of them dies, he gets extra shots. It's like he kept his finger on the trigger for a bit longer, going, and then he's gone because of it. I'm a big fan of any weird and random rule that does stuff to you that you're not expecting. I'm a big fan of explosions. It's why I like Horus Heresy. I'm a big fan of sweeping advances, getting blinded, falling back, things like that. So that's why I like orcs. Yeah. Hellblasters in a drop pod on a suicide drop. I love it. Yeah, I know. Hellblasters with a lieutenant, which allows them to fall back, shoot and charge. Hellblasters with any unit that gives them an invulnerable save at all is going to be good. Hellblasters with an apothecary, because apothecaries can just put a model back in, a model back in, a model back in. Can you give your thoughts on the Calgar Victress Guard and the precise rule? It seems it can't be used against him unless he's in an attached unit. Shame to see another. Shame to see another special edition books being scooped up by... It's Scalpers of Scout, yeah. Calgar. What I'm doing here is flicking through card after card after card, trying to find Calgar. Iron Fiver Ferris, Vindicator, Rubik Gulliman, Incursor, and they're all mixed up. Captain, Lieutenant, Storm Raven Gunship, Land Speeder, Devastator, Desolation. Did I put them at the bottom? I didn't. Anyone else knows about the Calgar thing? Anyone? I mean, what am I being asked here? Sicarius, Cassius, Tigris, Calgar. What do you want to know? Can you give your thoughts on the Calgar Victress Guard and the Precision Rule? It seems it can be used against him unless he's an attached unit. Manius Calgar, Victress Honor Guard. Okay. When the inspiring leader, while he's leading a unit, that unit is eligible to shoot and... Okay. This unit can be attached to the following unit. So Manius Calgar with Victress Honor Guard can be attached to Aggressors, Assault Intercessors, Blade Guard, Eradicators, Heavy, Infernus, Intercessors, Stern Guard. Right. While he's leading a unit, that unit can charge, shoot and declare a charge and turn it fell back. Start your command phase. If he's on the battlefield, you get a VP. While this unit contains one or more Victress Honor Guard, this unit's Manius Calgar model gains Feel No Pain. It has a strange interaction with Precision because he counts as a unit. It does. So Precision means that the attacking player gets to apply the wounds. So the attacking player can apply it to Manius Calgar. Precision. Weapons of the Precision ability. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, if a character model in that unit is visible to the attacking model's player can choose that have that attack allocated to that character's model instead of following the normal attack sequence. So if you're shooting Manius Calgar and some Victress squad which are attached to another squad and you're hitting them with precision weapons, then it says that player can choose to apply those models to that model. So your attacking player would put them on Calgar, right? I don't think it's that much of a weird intro. It's a bit weird because he's got the bodyguard with them, but yeah, I seem to remember when I read the rules that it's the attacking player gets to do it. So that clears it up quite a bit. I kind of want to see a Space Marine army on the board being nothing but characters. Yeah, it would suck, but you could do it. So you can single him out even if they are not attached. So if a character is not attached to a unit, you can always single out the characters. If a character is attached to any unit at any time, then you must always apply the wounds to the bodyguard unit first. It even says that in the rules. You must apply the wounds to the bodyguard unit first. You must use the bodyguard unit's toughness when also working out whether you've wounded it or not. The precision rule allows the attacking player to allocate wounds. Any thoughts on how World Eaters are going to play out in 10th? Yes, they're going to run forward and kill stuff. Also hoping for a second wave for them. Yes, me too. Their own Terminators and Berserker on. Yes, I said that in my Codex review of World Eaters that I was and I said it with the Leagues of O-Town as well, very much looking forward to Wave 2 releases from both of those codexes because there is a there's a Juggernaut shaped gap in the World Eaters Codex, and there's also a Khorne Demon Engine shaped gap in that World Eaters Codex, some sort of machine with blades and saws moving very quickly forward, which I think we could and should see in the World Eaters Codex. Having said that, there was a gap in the Leagues of Votann Codex, and I was really looking forward to their next models. When I was mentioning that, I was talking about all the Iron King. I was talking about the possibility of them adding so much AI to that book and some weird creatures and things. Since then, they have released some, or are releasing some more Votann models with jump packs and things, and it's more of the same. The Votann have AI. The Votann have the Iron King. The Votann have the possibility as a faction of coming up with some metal monstrosities of the like that we've never seen before. I don't want more not Terminators, not Devastators, Berserkers, things like that. I'd like something different. So are wound caps per phase still a thing? I don't know what you mean as wound caps per phase. If you're asking, do wounds spill over? No. If you do 10 wounds to a 2 wound model, then that 2 wound model is dead. It doesn't spill into the rest of the unit. In AOS it does. It spills into the rest of the unit, but not in 40k. I'd like an Iron King Dwarf Naut with massive drills. Exactly. Because they've got the Iron Kin thing going on. His only 4 wounds a phase rule. Ah, right. Okay. I can only talk about the cards that I have in front of me. I think, and in the Space Marine cards and in the Tyrannid cards, there's no wound reduction in that way. I think the Redemptor Dreadnought is the only index card. I could be wrong, but I think the Redemptor Dreadnought is the only index card which is the -1 damage rule. So, Son of Olympia, ready to be Iron Within and Iron Without in 10th. Nice. Well, so Razor Wolf, we'll have to wait and see when the remaining index cards come out, whether that only 4 wounds per phase or only 3 wounds per is a thing or not. Is still a thing or not. I miss you. I miss seeing you play AdMech. I'm looking forward to playing my AdMech in the new edition. Because I didn't play him in 9th because I don't have a PhD and I couldn't figure them out. But it'll be good to get them back on the channel again. There's still some -1 damage out there. Yeah, but there's not a lot, is there? I mean, oh, thank you for gifting that membership. Appreciate you. That membership that you've got, Hugh Sands, gets you access to my Discord. That's a tier 2 membership level. If you want access to all the extra videos I produce as well, then you need to upgrade that to tier 3 channel member. I don't know why. YouTube, it sets it at tier 2 and I can't move it to tier 3. It sets it at tier 2. But I really appreciate the donation. Thank you. Do you prefer the new card system or the old codex system for data sheets? The new card system. Question, read that -1 damage rule seems to affect damage 1 weapon now. So the -1 damage rule seems to affect damage 1 weapons now. So effectively they reduce damage to 0. Agree, disagree, good, bad. Damage 1 weapons will not be reduced to damage 0. If there are any rules interactions in which that comes up, it will be fact. So the Redemptor Dreadnought is the only one that I know of, and surely it says that in the Redemptor Dreadnought rule, like reduce all damage by 1 down to a minimum of 1. I need to find I just put them away, and now I want to find the Redemptor Dreadnought datasheet. Because there's the Brutalis. Here's the Redemptor. No. Redemptor Dreadnought. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack. It just says that. It doesn't say about it not going to 0. That's going to get fact, obviously. I did find a typo, like the Hellblaster's gun was hazardous regardless of whether you overcooked it or not. So it's clearly not hazardous if you don't overcook it. And I think that's been fact already. I think we've had day 0 facts. The Storm Raven doesn't have minimal. It will. If you or your local hobby club, if you do, or anyone pulls out the rule saying, hey, you're shooting at me with damage 1 weapons, that does 0 damage to me, just don't ever do that. It's clearly an oversight. And if someone says that to you, never play with that person again, ever. Oh dear. Yeah. It doesn't say that on the... Yeah, it doesn't. Or the flower one. Yeah, it doesn't. But it's clearly going to get fact. There is no way they're going to allow a rule system to exist where you hit your wound, your damage, and the result of the damage of your attack, even after failed saves, is 0. It just breaks the core rules. Oh dear. No. So, Wulteric, no, they can be damaged by cheap weapons. Don't ever do that to anyone. And if anyone ever does that to you, don't play with them again. It's clearly an oversight. Oh, how long have I been banging on for? Nearly 2 hours. So I will wrap this one up. We're still waiting for the day 1. I thought there was a day 1, day 0 fact coming. Yeah. Kind of silly that they do stupid crap like this after. Yeah, it happens. It happens. Tyrannofex is another one with a minus damage rule. Yeah, so there are still units with a minus damage rule. They are few and far between now. I mean, Death Guard don't have it as an entire faction. And then you had it in every single codex everywhere. So there's a much less of them. Like Fights First, there's a much less of them. Like Transhuman seems to have gone completely. So a lot of the rules that seem to be abused more seem to have faded into the background quite a bit. And you might not run into them for many, many games. Look at that. I need to get in the shower. I'm sweating. I'm hungry. It's lunchtime, dinner time. What is the time? It's nearly 5 o'clock. So yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. It's already been fact, is it? It's already been fact. Okay, cool. So thank you for popping into the live stream. Thanks for all the likes, comments, subscriptions, things like Marius. I was leaving, but thank you for your donation. But I was about to jump out, but thank you for your donation. It's a shame that the Desolators seem to be a little nerfed. I was hoping for some Battleshock interaction with them too. The Desolators were the latest hotness, so the Desolators were pretty broken. They needed nerfing down a little bit as well. Do you remember when aggressors could shoot twice and kill everything? And Eradicators could do it all the time without moving. Do you notice that? Like, didn't someone make Auspex Tactics made a great video like, this is the greatest thing ever since the last thing that got released was the greatest thing ever, and this is the greatest thing that ever, get it before the nerf. Even in the time of making this video, it's already been nerfed, so don't get that greatest thing ever now, instead get this new greatest thing ever. Yeah, Desolators were like that. If you it's always the latest hotness gets supercharged. Codex creep is real, people. There are some things that seem to be uber powerful and you want to get 5 of them. Don't do that. Within 3 to 6 months, they'll be toned back and kept in line with everything else. And definitely don't say, I'm afraid you'll find that your bolt gun cannot damage my tank because my tank reduces all that damage to 0. Don't be that guy. Be kind, be helpful, trying to help your opponent have fun. Trying to help your opponent laugh their head off, because you can't win every single game of Warhammer 40k, but you can try and have fun every game of Warhammer 40k, and that's why we play this game, after all, is to have fun. So thank you for dropping in to my chat. Thank you for keeping me occupied this afternoon after filming the STD with Warsmith Chris. Look forward to the STC will be coming in a couple of days' time. So if you want to get on the STC and get any of your questions on the STC, then you need to become at least a tier 2 channel member. I've got a battle report coming out tomorrow on the 11th, which is the last 9th edition Warhammer 40k battle report I'm doing. So that's coming out tomorrow. And then there's a Horus Heresy one coming out Tuesday, because members get a battle report every single Tuesday. And that's coming out on Tuesday. So there's the next 2 battle reports coming up along with the STC. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Any more things in there? Good? Right, good. Yes, thank you for the donations. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the thumbs ups and likes. And I appreciate you all. Happy wargaming.